أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا رحمة للعالمين أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد والصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. All praise and glory belongs to Allah, the creator of this universe, the one who has showed out of his mercy and love and chosen the best of his creations, the most perfect of his creations, the one that were utterly in love with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they were absolutely in love with the creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. MashaAllah. He has honored us that they became the means for our guidance. Guidance is a transaction that requires two parties. One party should have something to give, and the other party should have the ability to receive. The prophets and the representatives of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had the ability to give, and there is no one that can be classified who was more able to give. But in this transaction of guidance, the other party who should have the ability to receive were in all times very few. When you look at how many followers Hazrat Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam had, it becomes actually it boggles the mind that for 950 years, and his age 2000 or more, and 8 people became believers. And that was almost the beginning of humanity. There was not so many distractions as you and I have in the last thousands of years that humanity has been on the face of this earth. This earth is 4 billion years old, as far as the research states. It's one of the youngest planets in this universe, and it is one of the smallest as well. When they carbon date the artifacts and the things that they find, the archaeologists, they've noticed that the one that I saw, the oldest one was 14,000 years. It was a building that was under the sea, and when they looked at that building, they were amazed at the precision of the structure of that building. Meaning the way it was cut, they came to the conclusion that even the technology that we have today, we will not be able to cut it that precisely. So of course, if we take that 14,000 years, then of course it could be 20, 25,000, the civilization became stronger, knowledgeable, and were able to build those buildings. And in the Holy Quran we have many different verses. The approximate meaning is that there were many nations before you that were a lot more powerful than you are. So even if, let's say, 20,000 years, the humanity at that time of Hazrat Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam was in infancy. There was not that many distractions that you and I have. Yet there was only 8 people that we know of that became believers. So even if you have the best of the best guides, but the hearts are not ready for it, you're not going to complete this transaction. So one of the responsibilities of a person who is going to guide you should have the ability and the sincerity and purity for it, which it's hard to come by, but it is there. The words of Imam Masumin and of the Holy Quran is such that if the hearts are ready, the person can get guided. By design, the target of shaitan and the system which has been devised, the target of it is the heart. With me? The target where they want to focus on, destroy it, completely annihilate, is the heart. Because shaitan knows that if that is corrupted, if that dies, then he has won the battle, because the guidance is there, but the transaction is not going to get complete because the people who were supposed to receive it, now they don't have the ability to receive it. Right? So what is this heart? Of course, it's not the pump that is pumping the blood in my veins and circulating it in my body. Although that heart has also become a target, because you see now people in very young age having heart diseases and problems. But the heart that we're talking about, and it's a long discussion about what qalb is. There is a view that the philosophers have, there's a view that the ascetics have, the people who practice spirituality and they don't have the love of this world, they elevate themselves and they can see the reality is a lot more clearer than, maybe some of the other sciences. So there is an angle from the tafsir of Quran as well, from the hadith as well, and it's a very complicated discussion, but I'm trying to make it simpler. I mean, it is not the last word, you can argue about it, but to make it simpler, for argument's sake, or this speech, heart of a person is the center of their attention. With me? It is an instrument that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to the soul for the attention of it. So whichever direction the heart is going to be, that is the direction of that soul. With me? So if I was to, want to, let's say, get you well, get you clear-minded, get you more aligned so that you can receive guidance, what do you think I would have to do? Is purify that focus that you have, right? Get of the things that you are attentive towards, if they're destroying you, to get you away from those things that are destroying you. And that is what shaitan has done, is that it has just distracted humanity's focus so much and divided it so much that it's able to make it in a way that the guidance is there but they're not able to receive. Put it in today's term, you're always plugged in. You have your phones, everyone has one. There are over 6 billion phones in the world. There are about 7 billion people in this world, approximately. Everyone has one. And about 86 to 88 times, or 85 to 88 times, a person will touch their phone during the day. With me? And it might be more, but you can count it if you want, how many times you actually touch this phone. And every time you touch it, it takes your focus away from what you were doing before. Right? So if you were, let's say, you were in salah, you were reading namaz, and there's a little buzz in your pocket. Yeah? Or some people forget to maybe, let's say, turn their ringers off. It rings. As soon as you have that little buzz in your pocket, right? Where's your focus? When you are in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Almighty, the creator of this universe, who has everything in His hands, where's your focus? As soon as it buzzes, your focus is away from salah. Now, I wonder who's called. I wonder who sent me a message. I wonder if it's an email. I wonder if it's a WhatsApp message. I wonder if it's Twitter. I wonder if it's Instagram. And there is no message out there other than maybe the life of someone that coming into this world or leaving this world. That is very important. Right? But every message, oh, it might be something, you know. You sit down on the computer, your attention is diverted. You take a look at the TV, your attention is diverted. You know, the different TV shows, if you're watching Marvel's Defenders, or you're watching, you know, any of the other superhero TV shows or movies, or, you know, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours you've watched TV, now your focus is towards those things that you've seen, or the movie that you've seen, and people are dazed out. Right? And when it comes for their focus, they're not able to. You know, in the 90s, the attention span of a person was about 26 minutes. Yeah? 26 minutes they were able to pay attention and focus. Then I read a study, it was early, you know, 20th century, that it was about 6 to 8 minutes. Would somebody be able to tell me in 2017, and this study is maybe a year old, what would be the attention span of a person?
60 seconds.
I said 60 seconds, actually 6 to 8 seconds.
Not even close.
Meaning if you're looking at me, within 6 to 8 seconds, your focus is gone.
Wow.
In your subconscious or conscious, your focus is gone. You're no longer with me. Your faces are looking at me, your eyes are looking at me, but you're not with me. Now, if you imagine humanity in 2017 getting to 2018, has an attention span of 6 to 8 seconds, what guidance are they able to receive? Would it be possible for the Imam of the time, if he was here in front of us delivering us a lecture, that we would be able to grasp? When our attention is 6 to 8 seconds, even of the purest guidance, if it is given to us, without impurities, which, you know, majority of the time is, if it's the purest of the guidance, we now, in the kingdom and the system of the biggest enemy that you and I have, the clear enemy that we have, has distorted our focus to this 6 to 8 seconds. And then we wonder what has happened to us. You know, after the speech is over, I fear that I asked somebody what I have, you know, mentioned for the last 45 minutes. I fear it. You know, and sometimes you come up and say, oh, you know, well, it was a great speech, or this and that. Alhamdulillah, everything is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Myself don't have any abilities. If I was to stop you and say, okay, it was a great speech, but could you tell me what I spoke about? You would have to struggle. It would not happen during while I'm leaving. You would have to struggle to be able to get one sentence that you have remembered in the last 45 minutes. Right? So how to get over that, how to increase your focus? Many different things. Now, of course, you'll start asking Sheikh Google, how can I increase focus? And probably what Sheikh Google will tell you is to meditate. Yeah? It will tell you to meditate, to be in the now. To practice, to be in the now. And if you look at, the self-help books and all of that genre, everything was coming about how to develop your focus and stay focused, and what is meditation, and what is the concept of being in now. The new age spirituality that is spreading like wildfire, because they see that there is a need. The need is that people want to increase their focus, and maybe if we get them closer and they start meditating on a candle or something, that their focus would increase and they would come attracted towards us. Right. But that doesn't really work out. Because when they try to teach you to meditate, they try to tell you that you have to empty yourself. So if you were to empty yourself and get to that state of nirvana, or to that state where nothing is going on in your mind and you are a blank, where is the guidance going to come from? Because if I'm speaking to you and you're meditating, you're blocking me away. Because your goal is to get to the place where there's nothing. So you will see that Buddhism and chakras and all of this is getting more and more into the society, and people are looking into it, and they're getting, yoga, for example. I don't know if you guys do yoga, or your wives or your sisters do. People take yoga classes for what? Yeah, health-wise, okay, but we can have more discipline. Yeah? And I'm surprised at our youths and our, part of our believers, that they will not come to Islam. They will not ask Islam. They will not ask a Maulana. They will not ask a person who's elder, who is knowledgeable with the knowledge of Islam, how can I increase my focus? But where would they go? Sheikh Google. One of the best ways, and probably is very effective, to increase the focus is the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Inshallah.
If you were to practice the tasbih, if you were to choose a particular name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which are many, 99 names, or if you take a look at Dua Joshan Kabir, there's over 1,000, and we only read it so that our knees get better, or our headaches go away, or our risk gets more. The names are there for a particular, other than those were the motivations that, okay, if your knees are hurting, say this so many times and your knees are going to get better. That was the motivation to get rid of that pain, but the purpose was something else. So when you get a tasbih and you start, the best tasbih that every one of us can do, and you do not need to consult anyone, is the tasbih of Bibi Fatima Zahra Salaam Alaiha. Right? But the way we do tasbih is what? That's not going to give you any effect. It's not going to, help you to build focus. You take the tasbih, you're taking the name of Allah, you're saying Allahu Akbar. A person said Allahu Akbar, Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam started to cry, and the person said, what's happened? Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam said, do you know what you have said? Do you know the depth of what you have said? And it's in a lot of the ways, when I see that way of tasbih, it's not tasbih, ma'azallah, it is an insult. It's not the glorification of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, rather it's an insult. Right? Tasbih is one. The other way is, if you want to increase your focus and you want your thoughts to be in line, be with wudu all the time. Try that. When you go, throughout the day, the whole day, try to be with wudu. And you will see that your focus would increase. If you want your focus to increase, look at the words of Quran. Right? Just take a look at the words of Quran, take a picture of them and try to bring back that picture. With me? I took a picture of what is written on the wall, right? And I can bring that picture anytime I like. Right? You can see it on the wall. What is it written over there? Can you recite it out loud? Right?
I agree with wuzu.
Yeah. Yeah, so you try to be with wudu, and the reason why I'm saying take a picture is, look, when you're reading, you don't really have to read from left to right or right to left. Yeah? Example, can you see my hand? Can you see my whole hand?
Yeah.
Can you also see my face?
Yeah.
Can you see the rest of my body? Can you see on the back? Can you see the member? Can you see all of that at once?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
No.
The reason why you couldn't see it all at once is because I pointed it out to you. When I said, can you see my hand? Your attention went to the hand. I said, can you see my body? Then it went to my body. I said, can you see the member, what's behind? That way. But if I was not to tell that to you, for the last 20 minutes, you've been looking at that. The whole of it. Right? When you look at a page, when you start to read, you can actually take a whole picture in your mind. Right? You can do that. If I was to take a look at the verses of the Quran and just memorization is something else. But just looking at one verse of the Holy Quran, taking a picture and try to bring it back and then read it. Right? Maybe this will be too advanced for you. But looking at the Quran also improves your focus. With me so far? Where does all of this battle happens? This battle happens in your heart. The struggle is that shaitan wants to divert your focus somewhere else, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants your focus somewhere else. Your lowly desires want your focus somewhere else, and your higher desires want to focus somewhere else. And this is the struggle. Now, whichever direction you're going to keep your focus, that is the way that you're going to become, and that is the way you're going to act. Are you with me? Yeah? So practically, if you want to do that and increase your focus, there are many things in Islam that you can do. Right? You don't have to go at any other door to be able to, and guess what? If you want the best thing to increase your focus and memory, yeah? Is there anybody here who's 10 years old? Yeah? Physically, yeah? Can you recite aloud salawat, my 10-year-old brother? Is there someone who's 12 years old? Yeah? Alright. The brother who's 10-year-old and the brother who's 12-year-old, look at each other. Over here. Say, look at him. You look at him. Yeah? When you're his age, if you start now, you can memorize Quran.
MashaAllah.
With me? Not much of a difference. If you guys stood together as in height, you're almost the same. Yeah? Within a couple of years, if you were to start at the age of 10, by 12, you would have the whole Quran memorized. If you start at 12, you can have the whole Quran memorized by the age of 14 or 15. If you're 15, you can probably memorize the Quran by the time you're 19. And if you look at it, I'm increasing about a year as I'm going along. What if you're 40? Yeah. It'll take you probably way too long, right? But when you're young, Shaitan has not come to divert your focus that much. You're still able to point your heart in the right direction. And the person who has memorized the Quran, one of the miracles of Quran is that their focus will become solid, their memory would become solid, they will have a light within them that the people who have the eyes to see, they'll be able to tell out of 100 people who has memorized the Quran. And when they live with that, and every night or every day or every moment they are reciting Quran, it is quite impossible, next to impossible, that they will go astray. They will have the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and shaitan will not be able to divert their focus. Especially you who have faith. Especially you who have the love of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam in your hearts. It is your first right to memorize the Quran, not anyone else's. Do you know that? It is your right. Imam Masumin alayhi salam have said that our Shia is that person who lives in a city who is the most knowledgeable about the Quran. Meaning if there's 1 million people, out of the 1 million people, the Shia of Imam Ali ﷺ and Imam Masumin ﷺ is that person who knows the most about the Quran. It was our right first. You know? It was our right and we've let it go. So, this was just actually initially just to get you warmed up, but the concept of it is that your heart is the battleground. Be very wise where your attention is going to be. With me? Now, I was raised there. I told you I don't have a Facebook account, right? Because I chose not to have one. I figured there should be at least one person in 7 billion people who shouldn't have a Facebook account, who could tell others that don't have one. Because when you have one, right, how can you tell somebody else not to have one? Especially the parents too. They have a Facebook account. How can they tell their children not to have one? Because the children will come about and say, well, you have to. You know. So, the design of this system or all of this, I mean, if you think, if we are this naive that all of this system is designed so humanity can purify their absolute nature that was given to them by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then I think we are really deceived. By design it's not made this way. By design it is made to get that absolute beautiful purity of a human being to become as impure as possible. You know your natural state is purity? Did you know that? What impurities are unnatural to you.
Sure.
You were brought in this world with the fitrah, the inclination, the nature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You were brought into this world pure. And you were given the guidance by all of the prophets to stay pure. Impurities is not your natural state. The planet that you've come from, right, so now you'll say, well, we are from earth. No, none of you are from earth. Your father and mother were not on this earth. They were somewhere else. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought them here on this earth for a particular task. He brought them here, and then they had children, 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 to the point that now there are 7 billion children of 2 individuals, Hazrat Adam and Hawwa alayhimus salam. Right? With me? The reason I'm giving you this example, just for argument's sake, for you to start thinking. From Mars, 2 individuals, they land on Earth, they have their children, and these children, they understand we're not of this planet, we are from Mars, and then they have other children and so forth. And 3rd or 4th generation, they forget that actually they have come from Mars. Right? And then one day, something happens. Something comes, says, well, you got to go back. We're like, well, what do you mean go back? This is my home. We say, no, 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 this is not your home. You had come from another place and you need to go back to that other place. Like, no, I'm going to cling on this. This is my home. Say, no, it's not your home. And then, when that person is returned, some of you and I would say, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Right? We are from? Should I have to translate? You say it all the time. Come on.
We are from God. We return.
Yeah, so which planet did you come from? Mars? No. Which planet did you come from? Heaven. You have come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you're going to return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're not of this earth. This what you see in front of you is actually a carbon-based suit. With me? You know how if you were to go to Mars, you need to wear a suit. Because the atmosphere is not suitable for you because you're not of that planet. So in order for us to be able to exist on earth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had to give us a suit. Right? Because it's carbon-based atmosphere, there's trees and everything, oxygen and... So, when a person is born, the suit is in infancy. When it comes here, has a suit. And within like 4 months of this suit being prepared, the actual you gets connected. When that actual you gets connected, right? You start realizing, start feeling, start listening, start tasting, start all of these new things that you never experienced before. Right? And you start getting confused, like what is going on? What are these noises that I'm hearing? And the mother is reciting the Quran, for example. Right? When the mothers are told, the mothers to be are told to recite Quran, because the child can hear that. The baby can hear that, and when they come into this world, if the mother has recited the Quran, if you were to play the Quran, the baby will get quiet. Because it will say, well, I had listened to that in that world, and seems like I'm still in that world, I don't have anything to worry about. But what mothers do, put a pacifier in the person's mouth. Because, maybe they listen to Bollywood when they, maybe they had Bollywood or Star Plus or I don't know, AIR or whatever was going on when they were with that child. Now if you want to calm that child, what you have to do? Read Quran. Maulana koi dua bataएं. Let me say it in Urdu. Maulana koi dua bataएं, ye bachcha jo hai wo chup nahi karta rote rote. Tell me a dua that this child doesn't stop crying. Sometimes I feel like telling them, whatever that you listened to when this child was with you, just play that and the child will be quiet. If the child had listened to the Holy Quran, you play the Holy Quran, the child will stay quiet. If you listen to a Bollywood or Hollywood, play that and the child will be quiet. Now they're thinking the dua is going to work. It's too late. It's too late. Now you have to go against the current. If you had been with the current, it would have been easier. With me? So the suit is developing, the suit is there, and we forget where we are from. But guess what happens to us every night? See, these are such nice ideas, such beautiful things. If you were to think, so many things in your life would just completely change. What happens to us at night? Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. At night, we go back to our home. Yeah? And this is all in the light of, for example, some of the verses of the Holy Quran and the verses and the traditions of Masumin al-Islam. We go back home. When we go back home, like, so you're back now. Have you finished your task? The task that I sent you for? Right? It's like, oh, sorry, I didn't do it. Did you reach the level of being my representative? That was your goal. Did you acquire the qualities of mine? Did you utilize the inclinations that I had given to you so that you can become a source of mercy for my creations? So that you can become a source of mercy for the trees, you can become the source of mercy for the oceans, for the rivers, for the sky, for the earth, for the plants, for the animals. Right? For my creations who have not yet realized what their purpose is. Oh no, didn't do that. Okay then. No. Because you didn't do it, punishment. You have to suffer now. Then what do? I say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ye dekho. Give me another chance. Send me back. Right. Send me back, I'll wake up in the morning, guess what? I will be a new man. I'll be a new person, I will do my task as you have ordained, I will take the guidance, I will have the ability to receive your guidance, I will be a new person, I promise you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, okay, fine. Your time has not expired yet, go. Right? And we wake up in the morning. Like tonight you're going to go see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tonight. Whether it is that a person dies before they get out of the majlis, or they go to sleep at night, we're going to go see our Creator. And in which condition are we going to be? Approximately, I am 44 years old. Yeah, now the youngsters are looking at, why is he speaking to us? He's not a youth anymore. Yeah. I did that math once, but if somebody has a calculator. 365 multiplied by 44, how much is that? About 14,000, give or take. See, 16,000? Say it.
16,060.
16,060. Safe, we're safe. 16.
Yeah, 16,060.
Okay. 16,060 times I have lived and died.
Wow.
16,660 times I've told my Lord, I'll be better. Over 16,000 times, my Creator has given me a chance.
No.
Isn't it fair that after 70 or 80 years of life, when I go back, that I should be reprimanded for what I've done? Or is it still unfair? There will be people on the Day of Judgment who will say, return us back. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, or the angels would say, no. Because even if I send you back, you're going to do the same as you did before. So my brothers and sisters, you know, when this punishment is mentioned in the Holy Quran, the fear that comes into our hearts is justified. And that punishment is fear. You know, just look at among our own selves. If somebody has done a mistake once, okay, forgive you. Twice, forgive you. 3 times, forgive you. If somebody keeps on breaking their promise over 16,000 times, what would you do? What would you do? And it is out of His mercy and grace that still on the Day of Judgment, He says that if you have tried, I have opened the door of intercession. If you have still tried in the right direction and you were not able to change, I have opened the door of intercession. You can have that love of Imam Ali. Try your very best. And on the Day of Judgment, Imam will be there and he will still, you know, through his name, through the name of Fatima, through the name of Hussein, through the name of Hassan, I will give you that intercession so you can enter into that paradise.
برای خوشنودی 14 معصومین بلندتر صلوات. اللهم صل علی محمد و آل محمد.
Yeah. And then in this world, He has given us the opportunity to ask for forgiveness through remembering the hardships that befell in Karbala. We spoke about 2 of my masters yesterday, very young. I'll speak about another of my 2 masters that were very young. On the night of Ashur, there were conversations. The mothers were talking to their children. The brothers were talking to their brothers. The mothers were saying to their children that, you know, tomorrow, because everybody knew that tomorrow is going to be the day of the test. They were saying to their children, you know, you need to do whatever that you possibly can to protect the Imam of the time. And God bless those mothers, or elevate their status. They were telling their little children to go in front of an army that was armed to the teeth, and the mothers knew, they knew that my children are not going to come back. And Hazrat Muhammad are talking among themselves. They're saying, you know, I will be the first who's going to sacrifice himself. Allah. Can you imagine little children who haven't seen life as such, yeah, have their dreams and aspirations. They're talking about giving their lives away. Bibi Zainab says that, you know, when I brought you, your father had said that you need to have my representation in Karbala. I can't go, but I need my representation. You are the representation of your father, and one can be my representation because I cannot go. Can you imagine? Me as Zainab cannot go. I cannot grab a sword or a spear and go and fight to protect the Imam of the time, to protect my brother. I can't. You represent me. May the peace and blessings be upon you. Oh my Bibi Zainab. Your khutbah, your sermons were the sword of your father. The day comes, these 2 little brothers, they go to Imam Hussein, they say, give us the permission to go, we need to go. Our mother has said that if you don't go, I'm not going to forgive you. We need to go. Imam Hussein would say, no, you cannot go. Bibi Zainab went up, said, you have to give permission to my children. Imam Hussain said, on children, battle is not an obligation. I can't. Bibi said, look, my brother, I'm your sister. We've been together for a long time. Can you tell me if I have ever asked you for something? Me as a sister, have I asked you for something? No, I haven't. You haven't. Bibi says, okay, this is my first and last request. Okay. My first and last request is that you give permission to my children. Hazrat Muhammad, they went to the battlefield. These children fought. They fought with the bravery that was unmatched. When they would fall, they would call upon Imam Hussein. Okay? So they will shout, they will call upon Imam Hussein that, I've fallen now. These are the last breaths that I'm going to take. Imam Hussein would rush over. The sight that Imam Hussein had to see, they were in front of thousands of soldiers. They had their spears, they had their swords, right? They had their arrows. And here was the two little bodies. Allah bless the heart of Imam Hussain, he picks them up. Their bodies are transported into the tents. What you find is Bibi Zainab in sajda. Bibi saying, oh Allah, thank you for accepting my sacrifice.